Hey, good morning, Crypto Garden family. It's your girl Bandito, and we're here this morning to talk about layer one staking. This morning we're seeing a pump in the market with the layer ones, which we always like to see. I hold many layer ones in my portfolio, and there's many reasons that we would choose to hold layer ones. They're almost all in the top, 15 or so cryptocurrencies by market cap. And they all have a lot of utility, which as opposed to some other tokens or coins, which have singular utilities, a layer one blockchain and the tokens that it's associated with has the potential to grow at a faster rate as more and more people use the network and build dApps that are then used by more people. That just compounds the network effect, essentially. So let's quickly go into a staking review. And let's remind ourselves why we stake, what staking is all about. Today, we're going to talk about more like simple staking within the network, and we'll get into liquidity farming next week. So some more complex forms of generating yield from your digital assets. So what is staking and why do we do it? Staking is how proof of stake blockchains secure their network and validate blocks, quite simply. You have two ways to participate in staking on a network. You can be a validator and run a full node, or you can be a delegator to another validator. So you can delegate funds to a validator's pool, where you can stake usually as much as you want or as much as you hold of that asset. Although there may be minimums, and share in the rewards that the pool generates for validating blocks without having to invest the same amount in equipment and time and risk. Oftentimes, delegating to a pool is far easier. However, it doesn't come without risk. Delegators are still exposed to risk through slashing. And what slashing is all about is if the validator they are staked through gets or commits these transgressions, such as not having as much network time as is demanded, as is the minimum for that particular protocol. So uptime, internet connection, or not voting on time, or attempting to rewrite a block, basically being a bad actor. If you are involved in that staking pool, then you have the potential to feel the effects of slashing and potentially lose some of that asset. So that's something to be aware of. Staking in general is incentivized through a reward program dependent on various factors such as the quantity of asset that you're staking, the length that you're staking for, and a history of good behavior. Most of the L1 blockchain native tokens can be staked or, again, delegated to a staking pool easily through their own proprietary wallets, some in combo with hard wallets such as Ledger, which is the gold standard. It's what we're trying to get to, is always staking our coins through our cold wallet, where we hold all of our keys. There's different options to staking, and we'll go through some of them. You can also stake through centralized exchanges that we're all familiar with, such as Coinbase, such as Binance, such as Kraken, etc. You guys know there's a ton of them. The workflow is simple. You just log in and you go to their Earn tab, search a search bar for the token that you want, and usually you can stake within 1 or 2 clicks. Okay. So just give me a second here and I'll share the screen with you. Okay, you guys, let's talk about really quickly here what could go right and what could go wrong. So what can go right is we can stake our assets and kind of get a double bang for our buck, where we hold the underlying asset. It continues to grow as the market grows and increase in value, but also we earn a reward for staking it and locking it up for a time. So that's what can go right. And then what can go wrong is the exchange or protocol you deposit into can go bankrupt. The exchange or protocol you deposit into can be hacked. They can also be subject to regulatory changes depending on the country you live in. The cryptocurrency you own can lose value in periods of market volatility, and lockup periods prevent accessing selling assets if needed. Okay, so that's some of the things that can go wrong. Just give me a sec here and we will pull up review. Just hang tight here. Okay, guys, we took a short break to get organized, and here I will share my screen with you guys again. So I built this as a resource that we can all have to reference when we need, because it's kind of a lot to take in. But this is what I came up with. Just 1 second here. It's down here. Okay, this is what I came up with. We'll start with Ethereum. I've chosen 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the layer ones that are all in the top of the market cap range, ones that we see every day as we're going about our crypto business and looking at CoinMarketCap or CoinGecko. We're starting off with Ethereum. So if you just follow along, you can see here that we have a few different options for staking the Ethereum that we hold. There's good reasons to hold Ethereum. I mean, it holds, I think 70% of the network action of the whole crypto market action is centered around Ethereum. They're the OG daddy of smart contracts. And they still have a lot of growth potential. I mean, they're growing a ton every day, despite the high fees issue and despite the fact that they're going through the growing pains of switching over to a proof of stake network. We'll start with becoming a validator on Ethereum. And in order to do that, you need 32 ETH to run your own validator node and to get those rewards for helping to secure the network. To do this, you need dedicated hardware. It's going to be expensive hardware, and you need a very reliable source of internet. As we were talking about before, slashing is a thing. And if you're not up on the network, like pretty much 100% of the time, you will be penalized for that. And then the other main downside to staking Ethereum as a validator is that, and a delegator, is that it's going to be locked up until their 2.0 proof of stake goes live. And nobody really knows when that will be. It's supposed to be within the next year, but it's also supposed to happen in stages and no one's really sure. So becoming a validator is risky. You're your assets are locked up for quite some time, and it requires a huge investment of 32 ETH. Right now, if we think of that as let's do some quick math, see what the math is. 4,000 times 32, it's 128,000 USD right now to become a validator. And the general rewards that I could find for doing that were typically 4 to 10%. So another way that you can stake your ETH is through a centralized exchange. Now, this is quite a bit easier. You can do it with 1 or 2 clicks. You can choose the centralized exchange of your choice. On Binance, they say that you can get up to 20%. Your ETH still remains locked into 2.0 until it goes live. But when you look further into it, I mean, the percentage that you get back is determined by the pool that you're in and various other factors. So I wouldn't guarantee that you would get this 20% on Binance. Coinbase is reporting a 4.5% return for staking through them. I want to show you guys something that can really help you. This is a resource that you should all know about, and it's called stakingrewards.com. And as you can see here, there's a little search bar up at the top, and we can type in the asset that we're curious about. And here we have Ethereum. And you can get some really useful information. Here we have some information on lending Ethereum. They have sort of a risk assessment here. It's risky. The complexity, they say here, is easy, but it's risky, I think, because it's locked up for so long. And then typical rewards of 4%. And here you'll have a total reward rate that you'll get, kind of, again, 4.4%. And you can come down here and you can see various lending protocols that you could stake with as well, and their percentages. So it's quite low for Ethereum network. So there's risk there, it's locked up, and the rate of return can be low, which so far isn't really, doesn't really look super attractive. Now, there is a really great option if you would like to stake your Ethereum through something called Lido. And this is a non-custodial option, which is great. This is, again, what we're saying is the gold standard. We want to eventually be staking everything from our cold wallets. And this is available quite widespread these days, which is nice. It's getting better and better. So Lido is a more liquid option. So staking Ethereum is something that we call really quite illiquid. So once you stake it in, it's locked up indefinitely. We don't know when 2.0 is going to drop, and you don't have access to your assets until that point, which might be okay if you have a ton of Ethereum and you just want to set it and forget it. But if you want to maintain the option of being able to access that asset, you may want to check out Lido or Lido. What happens there is you stake through your ledger, and you receive a wrapped version of ETH in return. And when you do that, you can then trade that wrapped ETH on the open market and get it working for you in any number of different ways. You can also use that wrapped ETH to retrieve the same amount plus rewards of your ETH once 2.0 hits. So Lido is one option, as well Cream Finance. And here we have returns quite a bit more on the higher end of the scale here, around 10%. And especially with the Lido option of being liquid and being able to use and move that asset around, or the value anyway tied to that asset, that's kind of attractive. All right, so we'll move on to Solana next. each one of these networks, the reason why we're looking at like this is they all have different rewards, and they also have different pros and cons in order reasons why we would want to and not want to stake with them. So where Ethereum had a 32 ETH as a minimum stake in order to become a validator, Solana has no set minimum stake, but there are some requirements which are a barrier to entry. So again, you need to have dedicated hardware, and it's going to be expensive hardware. And actually, to operate a validator node on the Solana network, you need to have, or that you spend 1.1 SOL per day, which, let's take a look real quick here. Coin market, let's see what Solana should be around $200. Yeah, it's around $200 USD right now. So that's what it costs to operate it. And also where ETH has a, it takes a lot longer for a block to be validated in ETH, many seconds, like 13 seconds or something like that. Solana has a much faster validation period. So it's like milliseconds, 400 milliseconds. So validators are very busy on the Solana network. And again, you need to have that solid uptime. You have to have dedicated equipment, and it has to be connected to an internet that doesn't fail. Otherwise, you will be subject to the slashing penalties. Just, you can check out, we'll go up here. We'll go to Solana. Okay, so here you can see that to delegate SOL is stable and easy. To run a validator is moderately risky, and the complexity is quite hard. You have to be a professional in order to do that. And then they have average rates of return of 5.67%. And then you come down here and you can see all these different places that you can stake, and there are rewards which are all set kind of close to or between 5 and 6%. I've written 6% here. And then when we come on to Binance, which is another place that you can stake your Solana, it's actually quite a bit easier, and the rate of return is quite higher. The difference, or what is less attractive about staking on these centralized exchanges, is because we don't own the keys, right? So not our keys, not our crypto. I tend to use these staking options on Binance or whatever centralized exchange I'm using. If I'm holding some of these assets in like a swing trade account, and I'm going to hold them for a while, but I may sell them and I don't want to switch them back and forth to a wallet. And I may lock up into one of these shorter periods of 30 days to get this higher APY. But it is a risk of holding your crypto on these centralized exchanges. Again, the risks that we talked about before, the exchange could go broke, they could be subject to regulatory things depending on the country you're in, and hacks, etc. So for Solana, we have a much better rate of return. Binance, it's really easy. I'll show you guys how to do it. It's very easy. Okay. So here we are in Binance. You go to Finance, Binance Earn. And here we can put in SOL. If the asset is available to stake here like this, it'll come up. And here you can see, okay, we can stake our SOL for 9.9% for 60 days. And just with a click or two, we will be staking. Or we can choose the 30-day option for a slightly less, 9.2%. And that's that. That's how easy it is. And if you prefer a non-custodial option, which is, again, the gold standard, like we said, is basically you hold the keys to your crypto, but yet you're still getting the benefit of staking and these rewards that we're looking for to gain passive income on the assets that we hold. You can use the Phantom wallet or the Soulflare wallet with your Ledger, your cold storage Ledger wallet. Okay, now we'll take a look at Terra Luna. So on the Terra Luna network, one of the bummers is that if you're going to be staking, you have, once you've staked, you have a 21-day lockup period in order to unstake it, which is never fun. So that's one of the downsides to using the Terra Luna or staking on Terra Luna. For running a node like a validator, again, it's this super fast network, really fast block validation, microseconds, like milliseconds. So really fast network, heavy slashing penalties for not being online, et cetera. And the staking rewards on Terra Luna are minimal, 3.755%. That doesn't look great, especially since you have to have it locked up for 21 days and you can't access it if you want to unstake it. That's, I don't know, that doesn't look super great to me. Although this has been performing well as an asset, that doesn't look like a great proposition to me. Binance has a little bit of a better rate if you want to lock it up for a long time. You can get a 5.5% rate over 90 days, but you know, there's definitely better options. If you want a non-custodial option for Terra Luna, you can just stake from your ledger, and it's just a 1 or 2 clicks and you can be staking your Luna and it's fully under your control. The one thing that we can go over again, if you guys watched my video from last week, where I looked at the Anchor protocol, where you can deposit your money into a stablecoin, the UST, which is the Terra stablecoin pegged to the US dollar. You can stake that on Anchor protocol at 20% return on a stablecoin, and it's non-custodial. So you own the keys, it's your crypto, a lot less risk. This is a great option and I use it. I'll let you guys know as time progresses how that's going, but it's going really good so far. We'll quickly talk about Polkadot. So Polkadot was one of the standouts in our list today. Not so much for setting up a validator node. Let's go back to stakingrewards.com, which you guys should check out, and it's going to be a great resource to you. Polkadot. So you guys, we can get a lot better reward for staking Polkadot than many of our other assets. It's got a typical reward rate of around 13%. To delegate, they have the delegation and validator running a node as risky and moderate, and the complexity is very hard. Okay, so with Polkadot, it seems like it would be better for anyone that's not super tech savvy to just be delegating their Polkadot rather than trying to run a node. The average staking reward's about 14%, which is great. That's what we're looking for. And on Binance, you guys can check it out. They have really great rates of return, and it's easy, just a couple clicks. So here we have the 30, 60, 90 days. If you want to go 90 days, you can get up to 16%, which is excellent. You can stake through Ledger, right through your Ledger Live on your desktop if you would like. and that's non-custodial option. So you hold the keys to your crypto. It's less risky than holding it on Binance or any other centralized exchange. But there is a 21-day unstaking period, much like the Terra Luna, which we don't really like. So for myself, the centralized exchange option is a good one right now. It's just a great rate of return. If you guys are holding DOT, that's something to look into. Avalanche is an up and coming layer 1. You guys will see it down. Let's check where it is on. Let's check where it is right now. It's number 12 by market cap. And it's a very fast network, and there's some really great things going on with it. You guys are going to be hearing more about it. I'm sure it will be claiming more and more of market share. The minimums to stake on the network are high, like comparable to ETH. So you need to stake at this point 2,000 AVAX, which is their native token, in order to run a validator. It's like $120,000 or something like that. And there is a minimum for delegating, which is 25 AVAX. And they have this this funny thing. We're going to take a look at AVAX, I think, next week and do a deeper dive into the AVAX, because the way that they have their proof of stake system set up is interesting. I won't get into it too much right now. We'll get distracted, but the average return is 10%. And here on Binance, you can see very respectable return rates there if you want to stake easily with a couple of clicks on a centralized exchange. But you may also stake non-custodially through Ledger and the Avalanche wallet. Okay, another super easy one here is Cardano. As far as they're one of the more decentralized networks where it's super easy to stake. Anybody can become a validator or staker. You don't have to have any minimums. You can create a pool and delegate your ADA to that pool. Currently, they have a ton of, they have 3,100 pools. They have 3,100 different validators, which is a ton. 23 billion staked. If I'm not mistaken, Cardano has, is one of the networks where the great majority of the available ADA is staked. Their native token is staked. The average returns on that is 5%. And it's really not that much better on Binance or the centralized exchanges. You're getting max 60 days at almost 8%. And you can also do so through your cold wallet and combined with the ADA wallets. Okay, so right now when we're looking at this, I mean, it depends on what you have. If you have Ethereum and you don't mind checking out, leaving it on a centralized exchange, this might be good to check out, is staking ETH 2.0, staking through Binance. But yeah, I mean, it's much safer to try through non-custodial options. So I'd probably check out Lido and get a 10%. The top performers right now are Solana, Polkadot, and Avalanche. Okay, these are the new up and coming layer ones that are there challenging Ethereum for market share, for network share. And I'm sure we'll see lots of growth within their networks and good things coming up in the future. So right now, if you want to hold, Solana has been one of the best performing layer ones as of late. If you'd like to hold a layer one, yeah, I'd recommend looking into any of these. I think are great investments, and but the best performing, the most standout were Polkadot, Avalanche, and the Solana. But even more so than Solana, Polkadot, and Avalanche, if it were just talking about staking rewards. And then, of course, the other standout, if you want to do the UST, the 20% in a stable coin is yeah, an extremely standout stake return for minimal risk. So let's take a look here. I'll just tell you guys, the resources I used here were obviously the rewardstaking.com. And then also all the blockchain explorers, you guys, is really important to be familiar with, because there we can find out, let's check here. You can see all of the nodes, the amount of validators. Let's try, what do I got up here? Is this on Solana Explorer? Okay. So if you guys Google, there's many explorers for each network. Some are better than others. You can just Google it, and then you can get important information. Some have more information than others. But here you can see the circulating supply, the active stake. This is the amount of stake that's currently locked, the price, etc. So I would encourage you guys to check out stakingrewards.com. Make sure you're familiarized with all of the blockchain explorers, and then check out whichever centralized exchange you are most familiar with and enjoy using in their earn or reward section, where you can stake the varying assets that you hold. Okay, guys, I hope this has been helpful to you. Stop sharing. I hope this has been helpful to you guys, and I will see you in the Discord and post the resources that I've shown you here so that you can download them and use them in your daily life. Okay, see you guys soon.